Hello, everybody. Thank you for taking the business statistic with the Dr. Jingze Jiang. So in our first lecture video, and we're going to start to look at chapter 1. And so I want to mention that what you will see from chapter 1 is very fundamental statistic stuff. It's basically like any of your other up-level course as well. We want to do a very quick short review and to make sure everybody will be on the same platform. And then based on the concept that we reviewed, and we're going to start to developing further. And the second I want to emphasize is that so this class is very different from your statistic class because we are focusing on the application of the statistics. Therefore, when you look at the numbers, please also understand that how you should interpret it and how you use it to solve the real world problems. So during the whole semester, I will keep refreshing your memory about the statistic concept at the same time to guide you to understand how to apply the knowledge to solve the real world problems. So first of all, I want to see welcome to the world of numbers. So if you think about nowadays, especially nowadays, so you're in the age of full of the data. So when you go to the Facebook, you click the data, you click the post, you Twitter, and whatever, all the social platform, they're collecting the data. So why the data is so important? Because the data are the information about your decision, about your preference. So the big tech company and all, not just big tech company, all the businesses, they're collecting those data. They want to use the data to understand the consumer, and then they're going to further develop the product or market a campaign. So therefore, the statistic is very, very important for nowadays for business major or economic major students. So you have to understand how to use the data to help the business decision to make a data-driven decision. And before we went further to review what you already learned from statistics that we're going to use in this class, I want you to think about a problem. So let's see, you currently work for U.S. Labor of the Bureau, help them to understand the city's economic situation. So what you are looking for is to ranking 50 cities based on their income level. So you want to visit 50 different cities, send out a survey. Let's see, each city you send out 1,000 survey to ask people what is their the household income from last year. So based on the data you collected, you try to rank these 50 cities. And so what kind of statistic you will use? I'm sure some students said, okay, let's just use average. Or some students say, let's use the range. So I don't want to say you are wrong, but I wanted you to think about this situation. Let's see, Bill Gates is one of the person you surveyed, and then he by chance visited Erie, and then he feel that Erie is such a nice place to live, and he decided to move his house to Erie. And like I said, when you collect the data, you survey his family. Now, obviously, if you're using the average to calculate the average income level for each city, and then based on that to rank it, you will notice that Erie might rank very top. But the fact is, that's not true. If you compare people, the life of living standard in Erie with living standard in, let's say, Los Angeles or Seattle, you will notice there's a total difference. So therefore, we are using the average to categorize the income level of the city, obviously is improper. And so what will be the proper method? So later in this chapter, we're actually going to look at the differences or advantages and disadvantages of the statistics. So when you are talking about applied statistic, you are not only just calculating the numbers, but also you have to understand the characteristic of your statistics so that you can properly use them to help business decision maker to make a good decision. So that is what we're going to focus in this class. That is not just focusing on the number itself, but more importantly to understand the characteristics of the statistics. And also we are focusing on the computer skills. And so therefore there are so many formula you'll learn from Stats 260. You won't see it here. However, you're going to be able to gain a lot of computer programming skills. We are mainly using the Excel. The reason we're focusing on computer software is because when you go to real world, and nobody's going to ask you, oh, please use the summation form to calculate average. So they will use different kind of computer software because in the business world, the time is money, so you have to be efficient. Therefore, in this class, I will teach you the most popular and economical software called Excel. So Excel is almost compared with other statistics software is really considered as free, but it's actually very, very powerful. So if you will be able to master in using Excel, you're definitely going to be able to find a really good job, or even to manage your own business, and you will find this cost-saving software to help you to solve a lot of business problems. So this is the introduction of this whole semester. And the next, I will give you some short overview about this chapter. And in the next video, we're going to look at each item in details. So for this chapter, as I said, we are basically to do an overview and a review and of this class. So first of all, we're going to look at what is the definition for statistics. And then we're going to look at why all the business student and economics major student are required to take this class. Therefore, we're going to look at the application of the statistics, business, and economics. And then we're going to look at the data. And after that, for the data source, make sure you will read the textbook carefully, because there's nothing difficult to understand, because it's basically talking about secondary and the first level source of the data source. So either you collect it by yourself or you find from external source. So therefore, the data source, I won't spend a lot of time on it. So make sure you read textbook. And now we're going to look at the different kind of statistics, descriptive statistic and statistical inference. And then lastly, we will mention about the ethical guideline for the statistical practice. Like I said, in next video, we're going to focus on the definition of the statistic and the application in business and economics.